What if I told you World War II was full of bizarre moments you've never imagined? From exploding bats to a fake army of rubber tanks, history hides stranger-than-fiction tales. Here are 50 crazy World War II facts that will change how you see the war forever. World War II was not just a clash of armies, but also a stage for unbelievable events. These moments ranged from bizarre military experiments to unlikely heroes. Each fact here reveals a surprising, quirky, or astonishing side of the war that history books rarely mention. Fact 1. The Ghost Army. The U.S. deployed a special unit of artists, actors, and sound engineers to deceive German forces. Using inflatable tanks, recorded battle sounds, and fake radio chatter, they tricked the enemy into thinking armies were stationed where none existed, saving thousands of real soldiers' lives. Fact 2. Beer bombers. British pilots returning from missions sometimes carried beer in their bomb bays for thirsty troops. The beer was stored in modified drop tanks or large cans, delivered to airfields in Normandy, earning the nickname beer runs among soldiers grateful for the unexpected cargo. Fact 3. Exploding rats. British intelligence created fake dead rats stuffed with explosives to sabotage German factories. The plan was for workers to dispose of the rats in boilers, triggering explosions. Although the first shipment was intercepted, the idea spread fear and caused significant disruption to enemy operations. Fact 4. Bat bombs. The U.S. tested an unusual weapon involving live bats strapped with tiny incendiary devices. Released over Japanese cities, the bats would roost in buildings before the devices ignited. Although successful in tests, the project was cancelled when conventional bombing became the preferred strategy. Fact 5. The double agent Garbo. Juan Pujol Garcia, codenamed Garbo, was a Spanish double agent who convinced the Germans he commanded a network of spies in Britain. In reality, all his agents were imaginary, yet his fake reports played a crucial role in misleading the Nazis before D-Day. Fact 6. Ice aircraft carrier. Britain planned an aircraft carrier made from pykrete, a mixture of ice and wood pulp, to be unsinkable in the Atlantic. Nicknamed Project Habakkuk, the idea was tested successfully but abandoned when steel production increased and other naval strategies proved more practical. Fact 7. The Great Emu Escape. In 1942, Australian soldiers stationed near emu habitats had constant issues with the large birds raiding their camps. Soldiers tried chasing them away, but the emus proved fast and fearless, sometimes outrunning jeeps, becoming a bizarre side note to the war's wildlife encounters. Fact 8. Rubber tank deception. To confuse enemy reconnaissance, the Allies created entire divisions of inflatable tanks, fake trucks, and wooden artillery. Combined with false radio transmissions, these decoys successfully convinced German commanders that Allied forces were massing in places they were not, diverting attention from real operations. Fact 9. The Great Panzer Theft. In occupied France, members of the resistance once managed to steal a German Panzer IV tank left unattended during maintenance. They drove it to a hidden location, stripped it for parts, and repurposed its weapons for sabotage operations against Nazi supply lines. Fact 10. Homing pigeons as heroes. Pigeons carried critical messages across enemy lines when radios were compromised. One famous bird, Cher Ami, saved nearly 200 American soldiers by delivering coordinates under heavy fire despite severe injuries, proving that sometimes small, feathered couriers could make a massive difference in wartime survival. Fact 11. The Great Toilet Bomb. In a strange morale stunt, U.S. airmen once dropped a porcelain toilet fitted with tail fins over a Japanese island. Intended as a joke during a supply shortage, the toilet bomb was photographed mid-drop and became a legendary piece of wartime humor. Fact 12. Camouflaged ships with dazzle paint. The Allies painted warships in bold, geometric patterns called dazzle camouflage to confuse enemy submarines. The strange designs made it harder to judge a ship's speed and direction, frustrating U-boat captains and buying crucial time for Allied vessels to evade torpedo attacks. Fact 13. Operation Mincemeat. British intelligence planted false invasion plans on a corpse dressed as a Royal Marine officer. The body was released off Spain's coast, and German forces took the bait, diverting troops to Greece instead of Sicily, paving the way for the Allied landing. Fact 14. Submarine aircraft carriers. Japan developed huge submarines capable of carrying and launching aircraft. These I-400 subs were intended to attack distant targets like the U.S. mainland. The war ended before they could be fully deployed, but their design remains one of the most ambitious naval concepts ever. Fact 15. The chocolate grenade. British engineers designed grenades disguised as chocolate bars to assassinate high-ranking Nazis. The bars were booby-trapped to explode when broken. Although most were intercepted before reaching targets, the concept illustrates the creative extremes espionage teams explored to eliminate enemy leadership. Fact 16. Ghost blimps. A U.S. Navy blimp patrolling the California coast in 1942 returned without its two-man crew. The blimp drifted inland and crashed in a residential area. The crew was never found, sparking endless speculation about their mysterious disappearance during a routine mission. Fact 17. War pigeons awarded medals. Over 30 pigeons received the British Dickin Medal for animal bravery. These birds carried urgent messages across dangerous skies, often saving hundreds of lives. One pigeon, named G.I. Joe, flew 20 miles in 20 minutes to stop a bombing raid just in time. Fact 18. Underwater tanks. The Allies developed amphibious Sherman DD tanks with collapsible flotation screens and propellers. Designed for the D-Day landings, some successfully swam ashore under fire, though many sank in rough waters. Their unique design helped open new possibilities for beach assaults during the war. Fact 19. The Great Paint Shortage. By 1944, paint was so scarce in Britain that some homes and public buildings went unpainted for years. To maintain camouflage, even bright road signs were dulled down, while civilian car owners were encouraged to use leftover military paints whenever possible. Fact 20. Hitler's nephew fought for America. William Patrick Hitler, Adolf Hitler's nephew, joined the U.S. Navy after denouncing his uncle. Serving as a hospital corpsman, he was wounded in action. After the war, he changed his name and lived quietly, distancing himself from his infamous family connection. Fact 21. Iceberg aircraft runway. The Canadian military once explored building runways on floating icebergs for transatlantic aircraft refueling. The idea, though creative, proved impractical due to the constant shifting and melting of the ice, ending the project before any such runway was ever constructed or used. Fact 22. The pigeon camera. German engineers strapped tiny automatic cameras to pigeons, capturing aerial photos during reconnaissance missions. The method provided unique angles of enemy positions, though the unpredictable flight paths meant many images were unusable. Still, the concept was an innovative blend of animal skill and technology. Fact 23. The cat mascot Unsinkable Sam. A cat nicknamed Unsinkable Sam survived the sinking of 3 different ships, the German battleship Bismarck, the British destroyer Cossack, and the aircraft carrier Ark Royal. Rescued each time, Sam became a beloved naval mascot, symbolizing resilience and good luck at sea. Fact 24. Hitler's love for Disney. Adolf Hitler reportedly enjoyed watching Disney cartoons, particularly Snow White. Despite the regime's strict propaganda rules, some foreign films slipped through, with Hitler's personal collection including several American animations, revealing an odd cultural interest amid his otherwise rigid and oppressive tastes. Fact 25. Operation Vegetarian. Britain prepared a plan to drop anthrax-infected cattle cakes over German fields, aiming to destroy livestock and food supplies. Tests on a Scottish island proved the concept worked, but the operation was never executed due to fears of uncontrollable long-term contamination. Fact 26. Floating dead soldier illusion. To scare Japanese soldiers, U.S. forces once floated dummies dressed as dead American soldiers down rivers at night. The eerie sight was meant to lure enemies into ambush zones or distract them from real troop movements during coordinated jungle operations. Fact 27. Warships powered by corn. Facing fuel shortages, some smaller Allied vessels experimented with ethanol distilled from corn as a fuel supplement. Though not widespread, the alternative worked well enough in emergencies, highlighting wartime innovation in finding substitutes for critical resources under pressure. Fact 28, the Soviet anti-tank dog program. Soviets trained dogs to carry explosives under German tanks. While some succeeded, many returned to their handlers or panicked, causing unintended casualties. The controversial tactic was eventually abandoned, though it demonstrated the extremes reached in desperate attempts to stop advancing armor. Fact 29, paratrooper dummies. On D-Day, the Allies dropped thousands of dummy paratroopers over different areas to confuse German forces. Equipped with firecrackers to simulate gunfire, these decoys created chaos, convincing defenders that massive airborne landings were happening far from the real invasion sites. Fact 30, ice cream for the troops. To boost morale, the U.S. Navy built a $1 million floating ice cream barge in the Pacific. It produced 10 gallons of ice cream every 7 minutes, delivering sweet treats to sailors stationed far from home and comforts. Fact 31, secret POW Monopoly games. The British government worked with the makers of Monopoly to hide maps, compasses, and currency inside game sets sent to Allied prisoners. The disguised tools helped some POWs escape, turning a family board game into an unlikely instrument of freedom. Fact 32, Hitler's globe. Hitler owned a massive globe in his office, later captured by U.S. troops. It became a pop culture reference after comedian Charlie Chaplin mocked it in The Great Dictator. The Real globe remains a famous war relic displayed in museums. Fact 33, painted cows for camouflage. In some rural areas, cows were painted with stripes to resemble zebras or blotches to blend into landscapes. The idea was to make aerial identification harder for enemy bombers targeting farmlands and livestock during food supply disruption campaigns. Fact 34, underwater spy base. Germany built hidden underwater listening posts along European coasts to track Allied shipping. Some were disguised as fishing huts on the surface, masking advanced hydrophone equipment below. While effective early in the war, many were destroyed as Allies improved counter-surveillance. Fact 35, Churchill's inflatable plane idea. Winston Churchill suggested using giant balloons shaped like aircraft to mislead German reconnaissance. While never widely adopted, similar decoy concepts for tanks and artillery proved highly successful in confusing enemy intelligence about the real size and position of Allied forces. Fact 36, Stalin's disappearing act. After Germany invaded in 1941, Stalin vanished from public appearances for over a week, reportedly in shock. Soviet officials debated replacing him, but he returned to lead the war effort. This disappearance remains one of the most debated moments in Soviet wartime leadership. Fact 37, Nazi gold in a lake. As Allied forces advanced, Nazis dumped gold, art, and treasures into Austria's Lake Toplitz to prevent capture. Divers have since recovered valuable items, but many believe vast riches still lie hidden in its depths, sparking treasure hunts decades after the war. Fact 38, camouflaged factories. Entire factory rooftops in Britain and the US were painted to resemble towns, fields, or suburbs from above. Some used 3D structures to mimic houses, making them almost invisible to enemy bombers relying on aerial photography to target industrial sites. Fact 39, the 14-year-old soldier. Sergei Oleshkov joined the Soviet army at just 6 years old after losing his family. Serving as a mascot and courier, he survived the war and became a decorated soldier, representing the youngest known combatant in World War II history. Fact 40, the toilet paper shortage. U.S. soldiers in the Pacific often ran out of toilet paper during long missions. Some resorted to using enemy propaganda leaflets, ration wrappers, or even leaves. Supply shortages turned hygiene improvisations into another hidden challenge of wartime survival. Fact 41, fake radio shows. Allied propagandists created fake German radio broadcasts, posing as loyal Nazis criticizing high command. The program spread dissent and false information, sowing mistrust among enemy listeners. Many soldiers tuned in secretly, unsure whether the broadcasts were real or enemy trickery. Fact 42, secret ink recipes. Resistance groups used homemade invisible inks from lemon juice, milk, or urine to hide messages. When heated, the writing appeared. Spies passed vital intelligence this way, evading German censors who inspected letters but often overlooked such clever chemical tricks. Fact 43, the carrier pigeon spy ring. In occupied France, the resistance used pigeons smuggled in from Britain to send photographs of German fortifications back across the Channel. The birds flew at night, avoiding detection, and helped Allied planners prepare for invasions with accurate, up-to-date intelligence. Fact 44, the ghost city of Oradour. The French village of Oradour-sur-Glane was destroyed by the SS in 1944, killing 642 residents. After the war, it was left untouched as a memorial, its burned-out buildings and rusting cars standing as a haunting reminder of wartime atrocities. Fact 45, the pilot who stole a plane. In 1944, a Polish pilot escaped from Soviet captivity by stealing a Yak fighter plane. He flew it hundreds of miles to join Allied forces, becoming a hero both for his daring escape and for rejoining the fight against the Axis. Fact 46, naval battle with swords. In the Pacific, some Japanese officers still carried samurai swords into combat. In rare close encounters, these swords were used against Allied troops, blending ancient warrior traditions with modern warfare in surreal moments of clashing centuries on the battlefield. Fact 47, Hitler's meth army. German soldiers were issued Pervitin, a methamphetamine-based stimulant, to stay awake for days. This drug boosted endurance but caused dangerous side effects. Many historians believe its widespread use influenced both the speed and recklessness of early German offensives. Fact 48, the ship that sank twice. The USS O'Bannon accidentally rammed a Japanese submarine, disabling it. Later, the sub was sunk by depth charges. Incredibly, the O'Bannon itself was heavily damaged in another battle, repaired, and sent back to fight, effectively surviving 2 sinkings in its career. Fact 49, war's shortest battle. The Battle of Louros in 1943 lasted only a few days, ending abruptly when German paratroopers overwhelmed Allied defenses. Though short, it was intense, with fierce resistance and heavy casualties on both sides, highlighting how rapidly fortunes could change in wartime. Fact 50, peace by football. In 1944, a temporary truce occurred between American and German soldiers in a Belgian village to allow locals to celebrate Christmas. They even played a friendly football match. The moment, though brief, showed humanity could still shine through even in brutal conflict. From secret bat bombs to inflatable tanks, World War II was as strange as it was deadly. These unbelievable stories prove history is full of surprises. If you enjoyed this journey into the war's weirdest moments, subscribe for more incredible, untold historical facts. See you in the next video.